Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at creating a 3D model for the bracket. Now I've left this part for last because I feel that this is the most complicated one to model and it can be a bit confusing at times depending on what you're looking at. Basically, some things to note here is that they're showing a height from the very top surface of the bracket to the center of this hole as 60 millimeters. To get a total height, we're going to also have to add up the radius of this circle on the very bottom, which is a radius value of 10. Keeping in mind that the thickness of the bracket all over is 2.38 gauge material. So we're going to have to remember these numbers, especially at the beginning, because we're going to have to start by drawing the right side profile of this. So I consider where my mouse is moving right now to be the front view, and then the right side view is on this side. So this is the side that we're going to start with our sketch. We're going to sketch the right side, which shows the perspective of looking at the thickness of the bracket at its 2.38 thickness. So we're going to get started. Go up to New. Make sure metric is selected and standard mm.ipt is always for this project. Hit create. Start a 2D sketch on XY plane. And start with a line tool at 0, 0. And we're going to draw the inside of that profile only. So basically an upside down U. And then stop right here. Alright, so where this line and this line are in line with one another. And we're going to start by running a simple dimension from here to here. The inside of this, inside face to inside face, is listed as 30. So we're going to hit check mark, constrain this to 30. Now here's where it gets tricky. So we're going to have to select the height. So what I'm going to be doing is just selecting this line here. And I know that from top to bottom, it's 60. But I also have to add the radius value, which is 10. Now, before I continue on here, remember that I'm not dimensioning all the way up to the top. I'm dimensioning inside faces only right now. So I actually have to subtract the thickness of the bracket here as well. So I know I have 60, I have to add 10, but I also have to subtract 2.38. And then hit check mark. And this is our height as it stands right now. We have not added the thickness of the gauge yet, but we're getting there. It lists on the iPad that I'm looking at that the radius value is 3 on the inside. So that dimension is given. So I'm going to use a 2D sketch fillet. I'm going to be changing this to 3. Modifying these top corners. Okay. Now, it doesn't tell me what the outside fillet is. And part of the reason I'm doing it like this is the only way I can see to do it correctly. We're going to have to offset this sketch outward. So we're going to use our offset tool, select the sketch, and pull outside like this. So as I pull the sketch out, it's going to offset that fillet value of 3 accordingly with whatever thickness that I'm choosing for the wall here, the wall thickness. So I know it's going to be 2.38. So I need to close this off. I'm going to get a line. I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Right click, left click OK, right click, left click create line. Select this endpoint and this endpoint. Right click, left click OK. So now we're ready to set our thickness. So from here to here, this is basically going to nearly constrain everything. This is 2.38. Check mark. All right. Next, we have one last line here that needs to be constrained. So I will just use my general dimension, touch the top line and the bottom, and there we have it to prove it to you. So this is being dimensioned properly as per the reference sheet on the iPad, 70. So that's why we have to do this little equation here, this little addition and subtraction. That's why that makes sense. All right, so now we're ready to extrude this. So hit Finish Sketch, hit Extrude, and it says that the extrusion is a value of 44 on Z value. Hit OK. Let's fix this up, put it in more of an isometric view. And to move forward, we're going to create the fillets here at the bottom edges of the bracket. This is going to help us get started to find where our holes should be positioned so the shaft can be inserted. So we're going to use a fillet feature. We know that the fillet value is 10. We've talked about that. So we type 10, select this edge here and this edge, and then select OK. OK, next, 2D sketch, again on this face, and we're going to find out where our holes need to be. We know that the hole has to share the same origin as the 10 radius seen here. So what we can do is grab our circle tool, and then we're just going to touch the fillet or the radius. We're not going to click, we're just going to touch. This is going to reveal where to snap that circle. So right here, we're going to snap here. I'm going to key in 8, which is the diameter, which automatically will constrain it in one go, as long as I picked up the origin. Hit Finish Sketch. Another extrusion, this time a cut. Change this to all. Hit OK. Okay, and now we have it. We have our holes positioned correctly. The next thing we can do is create what needs to be cut off of this, because remember, this basically is on an angle here. So what we're going to need to do now is start another 2D sketch on this face, and we're going to create another circle here. We're going to find the center again, and don't just sketch this circle, like just drop it around here somewhere. We're going to add a constraint manually here. We're going to use the tangent. So select tangent, select this sketch circle and this fillet feature here, and that's going to constrain the sketch perfectly right to here, right to that fillet. So that's how we're going to start. Next, we're going to use the line tool. We're going to come up here. We're going to zoom in on this. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the bottom of the thickness of the bracket, which is right here. So this black line represents basically a hidden line of the thickness, that 2.38. So right here, I can snap my line. Come down. And I'm going to want to snap this line when I find the tangent. So right there, that symbol right there that we just added manually, it'll show up naturally on the sketch circle right here. When you see that, click. And it's going to show you that it's connected that line to that circle arc with a tangent perfectly. Next, we're going to come back up here, snap a line to the same position, come down to here, click, and then come back to the circle and then click the tangent once again. Click, right click, left click OK to end. Now we're going to use a 2D trim. Select trim, select this part of the sketch circle, trim it away. So we're left with a fully constrained profile to extrude cut away, which will leave us with that bracket perfectly uniform the way it needs to be. So we'll hit finish sketch, select extrude, select the profile, select cut, say all, say OK. And we have it. So that's how that should look. Couple more things to do. We've got a circle, like a hole that passes through the top that allows the post to be inserted. So we're going to start a 2D sketch on this surface. We're going to create this hole as 14.5. And I'm going to dimension this from here to here, right? This line represents the inside thickness. Remember, this is dimensioned in the inside, from inside face to inside face 30. So that means this will have to be 15. And to double check that, we'll go from here to here. Whoops. Try that again. And it's 15 as well. This will over-constrain the sketch, so I'll hit cancel. Lastly, we're running a dimension from here to here. This is going to be a value of 22. All right. So that fully constrains that sketch. We're going to hit extrude, cut, all. Okay. And there we have it. We have one last thing to do, which can be a bit tricky now, is the keyway. This allows the rib on the shaft to insert and lock into the bracket. So we're just going to go to our left side view here, hit 2D sketch on this surface or face. We're going to use our rectangle sketch tool, draw a rectangle roughly like this, run our general dimension, touch the circle to the side here, and this keyway is listed as 2.5. So I can do two things. I can do 2.5 divided by 2, or I could just go 1.25 because I know what half of that is. And then hit check mark and do the same thing here. 1.25. Check mark. We need to run a dimension from here to the center. The iPad tells me that from the top of the keyway to the center of the hole is dimensioned as a value of 6. All right, now we're almost done. We have to finish constraining this sketch. So I'm going to draw another circle from this origin. Going to create a tangent constraint from it to the existing hole feature. Then we're going to use a 2D trim. I'm going to trim this line, this line, this line, and this line, and we're going to be left with a sketch profile that's constrained that we can cut. We're going to extrude this one a bit differently. We're going to go extrude. This is going to be a cut, but we don't want to go all the way through because it only exists on one side of the bracket. So we're going to change this to next. That means that it will cut until it reaches this inside face, and it will stop. So this is like a termination right here. Hit OK, and we have it. And that is the bracket complete. One last thing you can do with this is you can change the material. This is something we've been doing, so we can change this to a steel. And that is it. So last thing I need to do with this before I get rid of it is to save it. So there's all my pieces. This is going to be part 2. Bracket. Save. And that is it. So those are all the pieces modeled. So at our next lesson, we'll look at how to assemble everything together properly. So until then, try this out. I think good things are going to happen. And we'll talk tomorrow. Take care for now. Bye-bye.